The theater. For centuries, a place where stories were acted out. Stories meant to entertain and teach the lessons of the day. The theater. A place of entertainment. A place to see a show. A place that creates memories we carry for a lifetime. And for those bold enough to venture onto the stage, it is the opening of a world that too few ever have the joy of knowing. An experience shared only by the team of people that help create the framework from behind the curtains. Today, the arts must struggle for their rightful place within our society. People have lost sight of the value that the arts bring to our lives. Without the arts, we would have no entertainers, no storytellers, no life lessons imparted to us. It is not only the people who are involved in bringing these stories to life that carry away the life lessons, it is absolutely those who come to be entertained that wind up being educated as well. And so we come to this small community theater that over 10 years ago was started by a group that was bitten with the passion to tell stories. And so it started, a ragtag group with a common purpose, to entertain and educate by passing on the stories that are passed on. This group, called the Blue Ridge Community Theater, has done all I have mentioned here, and they have done it well. So here is their story, as told by the people who are responsible for the success this little theater in the North Georgia mountains has had. For it is there we gather to witness this experience we call the theater.
My passion really is about community. I've always wanted the place where I live to be the best it can, and I find that theater is one of the things that enables a community to actually be better than it can be sometimes. An example of this is 100% of our drama students at our high school graduate from high school. 90% of them go to higher education. That is a record that any community in the country could be proud of. 100% graduation rate out of a function. And that's what theater does in this community.
It really is a crossroads in our small community that crosses all the boundaries. It crosses religious boundaries, it crosses political boundaries, crosses boundaries of age, a place where you can meet, young people and people that are in their 80s, and all working towards usually a common purpose, which is putting on the next show or the next event.
Interestingly, the Blue Ridge Community Theater is really 4 theaters in one. We have the main stage productions, which are the ones that we air about 4 times a year. They're the ones probably the people are more familiar with, but there's also the Sunny D Children's Theater. And that to me is the heart and soul of how our theater gives back to the community. There's also Act 1 productions, and those are more shorter drop-in type plays, maybe a one-person actor. They're simpler to put on, shorter runs. And then we have our entertainment venues like a Louis Grizzard or Frank Sinatra or Greater Tuna that comes in periodically and fills in our calendar.
One of my dear friends and I, my friend had moved up from Atlanta, and I were riding around Blue Ridge one day, and she looked at me and she said, this town needs a theater. In being a critical thinker, I gave her 15 reasons why the community could not handle a theater. The demographics just weren't there. I think we had 16,000 people 10 years ago. And the next week, there was an article in the paper from the Arts Association saying, if you're interested in starting a theater, give us a call or come to this meeting. So we went to this meeting. It was a meeting held by Patty Vick Lee. And Patty has since moved out. And there were 7 people sitting around the table. 5 of them wanted to act and do stage work only. Nobody wanted to do the business of theater. So Dee and I flipped a coin, and whoever lost had to be president, and the other person could be secretary. So we wound up, through discussions with the Arts Association, we decided to do our own 501c3. So Dee and I went to nonprofit school in Atlanta, learned how to do that, got our 501c3.
The Blue Ridge Community Theater, which is now almost 10 years old,
has done an outstanding job providing entertainment value. We're still working out the numbers, but we're somewhere in excess of 70 productions, close to 500 actual performances. And so over the years, that's provided a lot of entertainment value, but it's also helped enrich the lives through broadening everyone's perspectives, giving them an opportunity to enjoy fine plays, musical entertainment shows, and kind of expand the creativity exposure to the people here. And also through the Sunny D Children's Theater, I believe we've had in excess of 400 students, children, attend 8 summer camps. And that really exposes kids at a young age to arts, entertainment, and theater and creativity, and I think it's a seed that helps them grow, and we've planted a good seed with a lot of kids in our community, and they've moved on from the Sunny D Theater to actually performing on our stage, and then some are now in college performing.
Community theater in Blue Ridge helps to bring culture to a very small town. When I moved to Blue Ridge 12 years ago, there was a lot less culture. There was a lot less acceptance in the town, frankly. And I think that the Blue Ridge Community Theater has been a very big part in bringing culture and acceptance of diversity to a small town. And I think that's probably why so many people want to live in Blue Ridge and nobody wants to leave.
The theater gives back to the community because of the enrichment it provides our children and the diversion it provides our adults.
It's all about being human. So a couple of years rocked by, and we got, luckily found some talent in Dan and Michael Pruitt. Unbeknownst to me, at the time, Dan was a playwright who had written a play on the Harvey Milk story that I had seen twice at Actors Express and did not know he was the author of the play. So I make a statement that God loves theater because you keep stumbling on this accidental meetings. And that's how the Pruitts were. They taught us more about theater in their time here than I would have ever learned in my whole life.
First of all, before I came to Blue Ridge, never ever had I been involved in theater. Other than 7th grade, I did Hansel and Gretel. But never even thought that there was a place in theater for me. And what I learned from the acting experience, it allowed you to tap into yourself as a feeling human being, and in lots of different roles and capacities that were very, very safe.
Art and theater are basically economic attractors in Blue Ridge. When the hospital, as an example, tries to recruit a professional doctor, their family asks, what's in the community for us? And theater is one of those answers. So as we look at attracting top-level professionals, people like to have a nice night out, a date night, if you will. So theater very much accomplishes that in a sort of a rural area where there aren't that many good date opportunities, if you will, for professional people. From a cultural standpoint, certainly it enriches our lives. The stories of theater are the stories of human nature and the striving of human beings. And there's always so much to learn just from the dialogues and the words of theater. So very powerfully, anything from Tennessee Williams to a farce comedy, there are always things to learn about human nature and another insight into the human character.
Well, I think to do it at an early age, which is what we're trying to do with the Sunny D Theater, really kind of broadens their perspective and opens them up to new things, not just art, not just acting, but books, and gets them involved in reading plays and reading books and possibly bringing out the creativity that they may have. And for all of us, we are all a product of our environment. And the earlier you're exposed to this, it gives more time for it to flourish and grow. And I see in some of the kids that we work with now, we have a young lady on stage now who's the star of our Fantastics production. She's 15 years old, and she's got a beautiful, bright future ahead of her. She's got a great voice, and actually opening night was her 15th birthday, so what a way to start your starring role in theater. And seeing her at an early age now, look at what could be on the horizon for her. Look at what opportunities there could be out there for her if she so chooses. So I think it's theater is like having a good library in a community. It gives the kids and the adults entertainment value and exposure.
I do think a theater boasts and really builds the community for the arts. I think, when funding has been cut short by our government, by our local governments, there's a real gap and a void that children need to be exposed to. And one of the things I'm most proud of is the Arts Association here in Blue Ridge and the theater. All of the arts here, plus the arts festivals and things that are brought regularly, are absolutely vital to the growth of this community. So if you can't get funding locally or nationally, you should be able to try to pull it, from the locals to try and keep it up and supported until we can get more funding, hopefully grant money and government money. It will make all the difference in the world. If you let it die, the community dies.
Wonderful for tourism. It's wonderful for the education of the young people. It gives everybody an opportunity to have a taste of the arts that for years we did not have in Blue Ridge.
Oh, man, I enjoy coming out here. I've been out here. I was over at the old theater, went several times, and like I said, I'm here tonight. And I just enjoy the live theater.
The effort has been outstanding through Joe and Pat Webb and the community, the volunteers. But if you think about how many people it takes to actually go to almost 500 performances, without the community supporting us, we could have never done that. And I think the Blue Ridge community has done an outstanding job of helping us. I think once we accomplish what we're doing now with our new home, we're going to give them a better venue, a nicer facility, no more rain delays because of roof leaks. So we're going to provide a better venue for them to enjoy theater, in a beautiful new theater that is set up appropriately with nice air conditioning, and we just think they'll have a better experience.
And so there you have it, the little theater in the North Georgia mountains, a 10-year history of giving to and enriching the people of Blue Ridge. And now this theater needs you to participate as a volunteer, maybe an actor, or most importantly, a supporter. If you can give a donation, please do. If you can come to a show, by all means do. For without this support, Blue Ridge will be without the theater.